Black Twitter, A People's History. So this is the documentary that is based on the Wired article that came out in 2021. Jason Parham wrote that story about Black Twitter, the existence of Black Twitter, the development over the course of the past few years of Black Twitter, because it is a real thing. I think anybody that's a part of Black Twitter, if you're Black yourself and you use Twitter for many, many years, you know that Black Twitter is a real construct. It's not just this made up make believe land. But ultimately, this has been adapted and produced by Onyx Collective, and the documentary series, which premiered on Hulu, is directed by Prentice Penny, who was the showrunner of Issa Rae's Insecure, as we know. And I got a chance to check out this documentary. I was hesitant watching it initially, to be honest, because it's one of those things where it felt like we might have been grasping at straws. Like, are we really about to tell an entire documentary, a 3-part documentary at that, about Black Twitter? Like, yes, I've been a part of it for a long time. I've seen a lot of these developments happen. I've seen how it's changed. I've been there for many of the moments, but a 3-hour documentary seemed like a bit of a stretch. But I gotta say, I walked away a bit surprised at the execution of this. It was done pretty well, and it was actually not only informative, but it also just kind of called back to an era of Twitter that really is just no longer in existence. And I think the real sort of motivating factor behind making this is just due to the development of the platform over the past couple of years. You know, it being purchased by Elon Musk, the name change from Twitter to X. Like, a lot of things are just not the same way that they used to be. Like, Twitter as an entire ecosystem has dramatically been changed. And so to have this documentation, to have this retelling of a particular moment in time in the culture actually proved to be quite entertaining. They span all the big moments and events, you know, everything from the creation of Black Lives Matter to the Trayvon Martin situation, and just everything that came after that, all the way to the fun stuff too, just the scandal watch parties that used to take place back in the day, how the crying Jordan meme really took off and became just a huge moment, and just, you know, all the way up until recent stuff like everything that happened with COVID, George Floyd, the January 6th Capitol attacks, to all those, you know, the small minutiae in between, how we would take moments and just make them bigger, and the memes and just everything that came out of that. They even got some of the people behind those moments, like some of the people behind the memes that we've seen were a part of this documentary. Some people that created certain movements and hashtags. Oscar So White, the creator of that hashtag, was on this documentary. So they had a lot of people here. But ultimately, it was a good documentary. It was a good, just, you know, sort of trip down memory lane to just explore all of just the evolution and how things have just, you know, changed dramatically throughout the platform. And it reminded me of a few things that I hadn't thought about, you know, lately. I was like, oh yeah, that was a whole thing. That was a whole era that took place, you know, back in whatever year the case may have been. So it was a decent watch. It was ultimately satisfying, and I think something that people can look back fondly on if you are a Twitter user, or if you have been a Twitter user in the past. Before I talk about the next one, anything about Twitter you want to recall, or you know, sort of bring up about just, I guess, just the changes that the platform has undergone? Because I mean, we've been on it for a minute. I know I joined in I think it was early 2010, and obviously,
same.
Even from like 2010 to like 2015, it was different. But then now from like 2015 to today, I mean, it's almost unrecognizable compared to what it used to be and how many people used to use it.
Yeah, man. I remember I joined April 2010, and like you said, we've been a part of all of those movements of Twitter, and so many hashtags. In fact, I think that's one of the changes. We don't use hashtags anymore. If you look at Twitter right now, nobody's using hashtags. It's not a thing. There's not like a new trend of like, I don't know, hashtag this thing is happening, and then a meme gets posted. Everyone's trying to be funny at the same. That does not happen anymore, and it's just very interesting. It has become more, I think, polished, and some for better, of course, but a lot of it for worse too. Like, Twitter used to be a place you can go to and have a good time. Now it is a little more it's a little more stuck up now than it used to be. And so yeah, man, it's like you said, so many changes have been done, and yeah, it's a weird landscape now. I don't know if we'll ever get that back ever again. Everybody kind of sometimes feels like they need to be polished now and like this different person, and because Twitter, it does get off the hinges, but that's what made it fun, is the unfilteredness of it all. And now that we have X and Elon Musk, it's just like, I can't believe we've gotten here. But yeah, man, that's it. It's definitely a different place now. It's a different world.
Yeah, and ultimately what this documentary hammers home, which is actually very much connected to the next one that I'm going to talk about, is just the importance and the role of Black people and how they formed and created Black Twitter and ultimately created even more initiatives and more things within the company. And there was a lot of Black
Mm-hmm.
employees that were a part of the company and the ERGs that they created, becoming some of the most successful and popular, and just their place within the company and the actual ecosystem and infrastructure of the company, and how that all just all evaporated and went away because a sort of, I guess, corporate greed and billionaire, uber billionaire guy decided to come in and just completely just throw everything away and make it in his own image, just as a power play, and just that idea of, losing something that we once felt like we had some ownership in and some stake in, and that ultimately being taken away.